Welcome to Making Herstory. This isn't polished success stories. This is the fire, the chaos, the gut punch truth of women who refuse to play small. The real, feral stories. The messy, bold, audacious stories that flip the table and set shit on fire. This is where we roar. It's Ashley Crabb. Buckle up, babe. We're making herstory. Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of Making Herstory. I am so excited that you're here. I clearly didn't scare you off from episode 1, and I am just so stoked to continue creating these stories with you, sharing these stories with you, building these legacies, and today's topic is one of my favorites, so let's dive in. Here's the truth. Every single day, women are doing things that will make men shit a brick. And I know this because I'm pretty sure I make my husband shit a brick at least once a day. Pretty sure I've been making him do that since the moment we met. So kudos for him for sticking along for the ride. But we are doing things every day, and we are doing them without apology. We are doing them without waiting around for someone to give us a permission slip and say, yes, here you go, do it. No, we are showing up feral. We are showing up audaciously. We are taking the action needed, and we aren't waiting. We aren't waiting. And so really, I think one of the greatest ways that women are just doing things, out of the ordinary is by owning these rooms, owning the rooms that we show up in. I know that you and I have both been in rooms where we perceivably do not belong. And girl, I know this is dating back to like when you were a kid, right? Like, I remember being at college parties and social events as an adult, and like I would shady dip. I would leave because I didn't belong in that room and because I didn't want to waste the time being there. And today we think about the rooms where we perceivably don't belong, whether that's with friends, family, social events, networking events, masterminds, business meetings, We are showing up to these rooms where we, quote unquote, don't belong, and we take the freaking mic anyways. Because what's different about 30-something-year-old Ashley than college and young adult Ashley is that I know why I don't belong in these rooms. And I don't belong in these rooms because I'm willing to think differently and bigger and outside of the box. So when we go into these rooms and we take the microphone anyways, it's not because it's something comfortable. It's not because it's something that we are like, oh, this is a fearless act. No, it's scary as all hell. We know that by taking that mic in that room, that we are not going to change the minds of everybody in that room. We are not going to be able to make people always see what it is that we see, but we take that microphone because we know that somebody else in that room needs to hear what we are going to say. We know that the story we have to share, we know that our story is going to drastically impact the life and the trajectory of another woman sitting in there. And so when we go into these rooms that we don't belong and we have this moment of staying meek, staying quiet, toning it down, you have to stop in that very instant and say, so by doing that, I'm taking my story away from somebody else. I'm depriving another woman in this room of the story that is going to pivot her entire life. And when you are able to stand in that room and choose to take the mic, you're choosing yourself, and you're also choosing other people. You are choosing people over this polished image, over this image of who you thought you had to be to show up to this room, of the image other people believe you have to have in this room. Like, I've stepped out of masterminds, I've left strategy tables, whether that is physically getting up and leaving, which I have done, or mentally leaving. And when I say that, when I say mentally leaving, I think it's actively choosing to be okay with the fact that you are who you are, and nothing you do or say is going to change the minds of these other people at the table, right? And so I think about this, and I think about a very clear example. I was actually recently at a mastermind event, and there were quite a few things there actually that I was like, what the hell is going on? What is this? But it was run by a man. There were quite a few other men there, but there were also a lot of women there. This was a co-ed event, men and women in business. And I remember we were sitting there in having big group discussion, and one of the women was asked a question, or a question was asked, and one of the women chose to answer. What is a risk you have not taken in business, and why have you not taken it? So she shares her idea of something to do in business. It's a little risky, and we're all like, holy shit, this is so great. Like, you have to do this. Like, we love this idea. And so the question was then asked, well, why don't you do it? And you could see her face. Like, she was truly thinking about why she didn't take this particular risk in business. And, finally she comes back and she says, I don't know. I recognize that I don't take risks in business, but I don't know why. And I really want to figure out why, so I stop doing it. And that answer wasn't good enough. She was then hounded. Why? In front of a group of professional individuals. Why professional individuals? I mean, she was probably asked 10 times, 10, 15 times. Why? And after giving her answer, finally, she got up and she left the room. And she left the room in tears. And in reality, I mean, if that would have been me, tenfold would have cried. Tenfold would have cried, because I cry when I'm mad, happy, sad, like things. Tears, they are a thing for Ashley. But I would have been so pissed. And while I was crying, I would have also been losing my shit, because what is that? Like, what is that, right? Like, you gave an answer, you want to think about it, you want to figure it out, case closed. And so after that happened and she got up and left the room, I knew in that moment I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision on if I was going to stay polished or if I was going to choose another woman over that polished image. And that's what I did. There was no mic, so thankfully my voice is pretty loud enough that I don't need a mic. But I looked at the leaders in that room and I said, you are forgetting that you are not just in a room full of men in business. First of all of you came here today without another thought in the world. So let's get that straight first. But you are in a room with women in business, and almost every single woman in this room is a mother. And so when you sit there and you ask a mother who is a business owner why she is not taking a risk in business, it is because that risk holds so much more behind it than just that risk. Making that decision, taking that risk, you have to think about every other sacrifice that you are making. You are thinking about how it is going to impact, the ripple effect it is going to have on everyone and everything in your life. So you can't just ask a woman or tell a woman to just not think about anything else and do it. Even though we're talking about being feral and taking action and taking risk, like, you have to understand that when she does that, when she has the audacity to do something like that, she is also doing it knowing the sacrifices and the impact it is making on other people. And that's why sometimes it is so hard for me still, for women to take risks in business, I think, because we always have to think about humanity over hustle. And so when I say hustle, I don't mean hard work, because hard work and hustle to me are two totally different things. Hustle is the ability to not think about anything else while you are working. Hard work is taking all of the factors into what you are doing, right? So when a woman chooses humanity over hustling, that's hard work. That's hard work. And in that moment, when you decide to build a sisterhood, you are recognizing that building a strong foundational sisterhood, building this community of other feral, strong women in business is going to be better than any polished look that you show up with, right? And so I think that we think about business a lot of times as convenience. Like, what is convenient in business? Is showing up this way convenient? Is taking the mic convenient? Is choosing people over humanity convenient? No, we don't do anything conveniently. We build these businesses through chaos. We build these businesses during nap time, during the wee hours of the night after everyone has gone to bed. I've built this business at 3 a.m. in the morning because I know that that's when I can get the most done. I know that there have been so many of you who have gotten on a Zoom call, breastfeeding your babies, and closed a deal, right? Like that's the power you have. You have mapped out entire launches and done the damn thing in the carpool line. You have used the carpool line for your freaking networking events, for your communities, for your strategy sessions. Like, you have been able to outperform every single person who has the so-called advantage, because feral women know how to turn these scraps, these scrappy moments into strategy. Into the strategy. You get to flip the frickin' script on everything that we are doing. Everything. And I think that's so amazing. I mean, let's think about one of the biggest things that so many men in business talk about, and it's market research. It's market research, making the connections, having the conversations, asking the questions of people before you launch. And yes, I know market research has its time and its place and its importance, but guess what? You don't need to do your market research, honey, because you all day long, you are anticipating and knowing the needs of people around you before they even ask for it. That is one of your superpowers, being able to know what people need and give it to them. How freaking cool. How freaking cool is that to be your superpower? Flipping the script, bringing your kids to meetings instead of canceling them, hauling them along for the ride, whether it's in person or online. Why cancel that meeting? You can make it happen. You turn doing your laundry into content. You turn meals into metaphors, and you serve those same freaking metaphors at the tables that you are serving peanut butter and jellies at. Like, you are able to turn this kind of chaotic, scrappy life into clarity. Nothing stays ordinary. Nothing is too hard or out of reach. Like, that is your power. You know that you don't have free hours to kill. You have these 20 minutes to make magic happen, and you do it. And then you turn around and you still tuck your kids in at night. Like, look at you freaking superhero. But I think all of those things really drive home this idea that we are redefining business and really redefining business boundaries. Never before would I have thought about business and motherhood as these coexistent things. But now I do. And now I'm redefining the boundaries that I set in my business because of motherhood. I think that, we are able to look at these shiny partnerships, shiny clients, shiny opportunities, but recognize that in our gut, they are absolutely wrong. The alignment is off. The vibe isn't there. Like being able to say, no, this doesn't work for me. No, this doesn't work for me and my family is gonna beat getting an applause every single time. And so something that I know as women in business, we are working so hard on is setting boundaries. And I'm so proud of us for doing that. So proud of us in our stories for making boundaries happen, because it's showing the world how they're going to treat us. It's showing the world how we treat ourselves and how they will treat us. And so when we do all of these things, when we do all of the above and we show up feral and we take the mic and we flip the script and we choose humanity over hustle, we are also being willing to take risks over our reputation. And so what I mean by that is we are willing to do things that make people uncomfortable. And we know first impressions matter. We know that reputations matter. But when we say we are willing to take a risk over a reputation, it means we are willing to show up so authentically, show up with so much audacity in the feral women that we are. And we're saying, you know what? This is my reputation. This is the reputation that I am building. And I am willing to risk you being uncomfortable. I am willing to risk you walking away, because comfort doesn't build shit. Comfort never made change happen. Comfort never built a movement. The only amazing things that we really, truly have seen and done are because we are willing to get out of our comfort zone and we are willing to make someone else And so you take that too much energy. You take those traits and those characteristics and those ideas that other people have told you to tone down. Your fire, your loudness, your messy truth. You said, no, this is not too much. This is exactly the thing that I know is going to make other women take action, and it is going to build the movement that we are after. So when you say, no, I'm not going to always follow this six-step formula. No, I'm not going to follow your quote unquote roadmap to success. I am going to rip this freaking roadmap apart and I am going to build my own. We are going to build a roadmap that actually fits our lives, fits real women's lives. That's what we're doing here. We are completely changing the way we do things. And so here's the kicker. By doing all of these things, you have to be willing to lead differently. You have to be willing to be a different kind of leader. And when you look at all of the things we've talked about, you are giving up the control of managing other people. You are recognizing that you can't control anything. Mostly the only thing you can control is yourself. That's the only thing you have true control over. Everyone else, you're not managing them, you're nurturing them. You're building a relationship. You are setting the foundation to say, this is how we are going to continue to build this community. You're amplifying them. You're lighting them on fire. And when you let go of the control of having to manage other people, that's what builds your empire. Nurturing someone is going to build an empire faster than the command and control you think or what is told that must be present. That nurturing side is going to outweigh command and control every single time. I was talking to my coach recently because I hired a coach. We'll talk about her in another episode. But she was like, Ashley, think about it. Like when I first got in touch with her and we were talking about me hiring her, I mean, this was the biggest investment I've ever made in my business for myself ever. And she didn't pressure me. She didn't keep coming after me. She didn't say, oh, you have to make a decision. No, she nurtured me. She was just there for me. She answered every single question that I had. And she gave me the time and the space to make that decision. She knew that I already knew the answer was yes. But she also knew that if she tried to command and control me to make that decision to hire her sooner, it would have lost that relationship. So instead of trying to manage my decisions, she nurtured them. And look at this freaking empire we're building. So, I just think that every time we think about the way things should be done, or we think about the way things have been done before, and the scariness of doing them differently and doing them outside of the box and doing them with audacity, you are making failure your fuel. You are taking every single no, every single eye roll, every single closed door and missed opportunity, and you are turning that into your freaking rocket fuel. That is your jet fuel that is pivoting your life and pivoting your business, right? That redirection in that moment where you could have taken all that negativity and it could have kept you small, it could have kept you quiet, it could have kept you meek. No, you are turning that into redirection. That is your strategy. We think of this word strategy and, it's a blueprint, it's a plan, it's this, that, or the other thing. No, to me, strategy is the way you are able to take everything that is thrown at you in life and business and redirect that into the fuel that lights your fire. You get to redefine the legacy you're building in business. We get to redefine the legacies we are building in business. We are not just building businesses that scale profits. Yes, I'm going to say it right now. I love money. Money loves me. I want money to live the life that I want to live for me and my family. But the point of my business, the point of building my business isn't the money part of it. That comes. Money is a tool and you are the vessel. And you can either be a vessel that does awesomeness and puts greatness out into the world, and your tools will come back, right? And they'll help you build what you are building. But I'm building a business that scales belonging. I'm building a business that scales visibility, that scales the way in which women believe and feel seen. I am building a business that scales the fire in the women around me and that in the women that will continue to build other businesses. So women in business aren't just thinking about the bottom line. We aren't just thinking about the scaling line. Those things come when you also focus on scaling everything else. So this isn't just about me. This is about you. This is about us. Because if you are listening to this podcast, I know that you have already done things in your life, in your business, that have made other people's jaw drop. You have been making people shit bricks for the better part of your life. I know I have. And I'm so glad that you have too. Because you have already carried babies on your hip while carrying an empire on your back. You have already said no to playing small, even if it scared you. Even if it scared the hell out of you. You said no, not playing small. Those moves aren't just survival moves. Those moves are your strategy. They are the proof that your story is not a liability. It is the leverage that you bring to the table. It is the thing, your story is the thing that sets you apart. And so feral women, we don't ask for a seat at the table. We flip the whole table. We dance on the table, and then we build a new table, one where every woman belongs. Your story is your audacity. It is your fire. It is the reason why you will never be forgotten. And so when we rise together and we tell these stories, we don't just make another point in history. We make her story and we make it together. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope that you join in next week, and we'll talk soon. You've been listening to Making Herstory. Remember, your story isn't optional. It's your fire, your power, and the heartbeat of every space you build. So take up space, tell it raw, and keep building the kind of legacy that can't be ignored. It's Ashley Crabb, and I'll be back with more bold, brave, feral stories soon. And if you want to stay feral with me, hit subscribe, share this with your sisters, and let's make herstory louder together.